What's up guys, it's Zmok, or maybe I should say Smunk. Today we're gonna make a Mistweaver guide for Mythic Plus. I'm gonna go through the talents, the stats, Azerite Traits, Trinkets, Consumables, healing rotation and damage rotation. So let's start out with the talents here. So these are the normal talents that I use in Mythic Plus. Misrep, Tiger's Lust, Life Cycles, Ring of Peace, Dampen Harm, or Diffuse Magic, Chi, and Focus Thunder. So the things you could change here if you want to, and you feel like you have enough healing already, then you could change from Misrep to Chi Burst. This is going to help your overall damage, because you're definitely going to do more damage in big AoE packs. But the healing from Chi Burst, I don't really feel like it's that great, to be honest. So you should only take this if you feel like you want to help doing more damage and you already got enough healing. But at the beginning here of Mythic Plus, I definitely want to go with Misrep, but when I get better gear or higher item level, I might switch over to Chi Burst, I guess. Second row, I go with Tiger's Lust. It's great for an extra freedom, and you can actually dispel quite a lot of spelling in some dungeons with Tiger's Lust. And it's just great to be able to give your party members extra speed as well. Third row, I'm going with Life Cycles. I've been testing around with the other ones a little bit, and to be honest, I find Life Cycles as the best one at the moment. But there's certain bosses where you want to go with Mana Tea, for example. For example, Temple of Sorali's last boss. It's a healing intensive boss, because you need to like burst heal through these phases. And Mana Tea is really good for that, because then you know in this small amount of window you have time to burst heal, and then you can do whatever you want pretty much, because it doesn't really cost too much mana then. So Mana Tea or Life Cycles is what I prefer, because not every single fight you're actually you're not really able to be in melee. I mean, you are, but it's definitely not gonna be easy always. So the fourth row here, I'm going with Ring of Peace, since Leg Sweep is now like a standard spell that every monk will have. You can go with Tiger Tail Sweep, but I mean, it increases the yards by 2 yards and reduces the cooldown by 10 seconds. Even though 2 yards doesn't sound like a lot, it might actually help a lot, because if you play on the FX called Infested, then it's not always you can actually leg sweep both the goon at the same time, because they might be just a little bit too far apart, because your normal leg sweep is only 5 yards. So you could maybe take it there, but to be honest, I would just stay with Ring of Peace and leg sweep. It's really good to have them both. So the fifth row here is Dampen Harm or Diffuse Magic. It's pretty much the same as in Lead, you know. Healing Elixir, you're not really gonna take that one. These are just too great of a defensive to take. So the second last row here, I go with Chi. It's a great AoE heal, so he runs around like crazy and just heals the whole party, you know. And I tried a little bit with the Jade Serpent statue, and sometimes it's actually quite good, but I would definitely prefer the Chi. I tried refreshing Jade Wind a bit as well, but it feels like your group kind of have to be stacked up a little bit more to like in order to really make this spell be good. And then for the very last, you definitely want to go with Focus Thunder, because I'm gonna get back into this spell. It's really good. Like you can use it for extra damage or having more renewing mist up, and it's just gonna increase your healing overall. These Upwelling and Rising Mist is not really what you want to go for in Mythic Plus, but they are really great for raiding though. Okay, so next up we are gonna look at the stats. So what you want to aim for is Haste, followed up by Mastery. As you can see, my stats are really low, but this is gonna increase as soon as we get a little bit further into BFA. You want the Haste for the reduced GCD, and then you want the Mastery just to be able to do this extra amount of healing. There's certain trinkets and weapons you can get for it, but I'm gonna get back to this. Okay, so let's head over to the Azerite Traits. So the first one in the outer ring you want to aim for is called Uplifted Spirits. It's going to increase your Vivify heals, and whenever Vivify crit heals, it's going to reduce cooldown of your revival by 1 second each trait of this you have. But if, however, for some reason you cannot get this one, you want to go for Misty Peaks So what this one does is whenever you have Renewing Mist on an ally, it has a chance to increase your haste by a certain amount for 10 seconds. And this is very strong because haste is your main stat you want to aim for. Okay, so for the middle trait, you want to aim for Woundbinder. What this does is all your healing effects has a chance to increase your haste by a certain amount for 6 seconds. And whenever you heal a lower health target, it's gonna increase its, it's gonna grant you more haste. If, however, you cannot get this one, I would say Earthlink is a very good choice as well. What this does is to cycle between 10 and 60 intellect. So whenever you are down to 10 intellect, it's gonna slowly go up to 60, and whenever you have 60, it's slowly gonna go down to 10. And keep in mind you can stack all these Azerite traits. But if you cannot get Earthlink as well, I would say Elemental Whirl is a good one as well, but this one requires you to do damage in order to proc. But it's not really a problem because you're a melee healer as a Mistweaver monk, so pretty much all the time you will be able to do at least a little amount of DPS. For the very middle ring, it doesn't really matter too much. Like often it's just like absorb shield and some movement speed. To be honest, you probably want to go with the absorb shields, since as a Mistweaver monk you actually have great mobility, and I don't really feel like you need the extra movement. Okay, so it can actually be very, very hard to match these Azerite traits. So what I will do is I will post a link down in the description, and it would be a link to Iceveins where you can actually filter out those Azerite traits, and then you can find the right pieces, because there's way too many for me to go through here. Okay, so next up we have Trinkets, and the two trinkets that I prefer in Mythic Plus is Rust Ruined Icicle, and as you can see, this one gives you an insane amount of intellect. This drops from a world boss though, so this world boss is called a Hailstone Construct, and combined with that trinket I would use Ignition Mage Fuse, which drops from Toldagor, and what this does is to give you 240 haste every 4 seconds up to 20 seconds. So it's like every 4 seconds it adds 240 haste. So this one is very good as well because you can control when you get this haste. What I don't like too much is RNG trinkets, for Mythic Plus at least, because you kind of want to have as much control of your healing as you can. But a trinket like this that procs 1400 intellect is huge, so definitely go for this one. So another cool thing here is the weapon called Sea Breeze. It works kind of like the same as my trinket, so whenever it procs, it's slowly going up in haste until it reach the max of 1040 haste. And this is over a 30-second duration. So it goes from 104, and then every third second it's gonna increase up to 1040. But then again, you don't want to rely too much on RNG in Mythic Plus. Even though this might seem like a lot of haste, then if it doesn't proc, you're you don't have as much control of your healing. So you kind of want to go for this staff here in Temple of Zeralis. This one gives you haste and mastery, so this one is definitely the one that you want to aim for. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the consumables. It's still the same as in Legion. You want to use sugar crusted fish feast in order to save as much time as possible to regenerate, and sugar crusted fish feast is going to give you 10% health and mana every second for 10 seconds. And you will instantly get the versatility buff, which is now 45 versatility stat. You do not eat this fish because of versatility, because that's not really what you want as a Mistweaver monk in Mythic Plus at least. So the only reason why you eat this is because it regenerates so quick, but they're quite expensive as well. Since a fish feast is so expensive, so that if you don't have the money, you could go ahead and buy swamp fish and chips. So this just regenerates like normal food, but this will give you 55 haste for 1 hour, which is very good as well. So for the flask, you want to use an intellect flask called Flask of Endless Fathoms, and you should buy the scroll as well here. They're quite cheap actually. War Scroll of Intellect, which increases the whole party's intellect by 7% for 30 minutes. That is pretty huge. And while we're at it, why not stack it up with Battle-Scarred Augment Rune? So this is a new rune in BFA. It does the same as the one in Legion, but you have to buy these each for their own in at the auction house, or you can get them from missions or questing or whatsoever. And then we have our potion with 1 minute cooldown. This is instead of prolonged power in Legion, so now we use this, which gave us 900 intellect for 25 seconds. This is really huge, and they're not that expensive actually. Since we are a Mistweaver monk, we really like to use a lot of mana, so do not forget your mana potions. You can use the custom mana potion or the potion of replenishment. So the custom mana potion gives you 11,000 mana instantly, and it has a 1 minute CD, which shares cooldown with the intellect potion as you saw before. And the potion of replenishment will make you channel your it's a channel potion, so it takes like 10 seconds, and you can restore up to 25,000 mana during those 10 seconds. You can, however, break the channel midway if you don't feel like if you feel like the boss is doing too much damage or something, and you all of a sudden have to heal. Then you can break this channel, and you do not get the rest of the mana then. And since we're talking about Mythic Plus, we like to speed things up a little bit because everything is about time. So what you can do is to use a Lightfoot potion, which increases your movement speed by 150%, lasts for 8 seconds, and this shares cooldowns with your other potion. You need to keep that in mind. Or you could use the old Skystep potion, which does the exact same thing, but that was just like a Legion potion. It still works here in BFA, so it's just like it doesn't really matter which one you take. Last but not least, we have the Invis potions. So in BFA here we got Demetrius Draught of Deception, and you have the old one from Legion called Skaggle Drink. Doesn't matter which one you use, it's just like new stuff, old stuff, doesn't matter. You want to keep in mind these shares cooldown with your other potions as well, so if you use this one, you won't be able to use like an Inslake potion or Skystep or anything like that for 10 minutes, so use them carefully. So let's head over here to the healing power of the Mistweaver monk. There's no specific rotation, but you want to try and keep as many renewing mist up as possible, especially when there's a lot of full party damage taken, because each renewing mist you have up will get healed whenever you cast Revivify. So this is like this is basically your AoE heal, and use Essence Fund carefully because it's gonna burn your mana really quick, especially if you spam it every time it's off CD. So use it carefully. If you know the pack is not gonna take like a long time to kill, like it's no problem to use it as often as you want then. But just be ready to eat up right after the pull. But if you know it's a boss fight that will take like a long time, then be careful about your mana because monks can really burn mana quick. Another important thing here is that you do not want to cast Soothing Mist all the time, even though it's really tempting because your Vivify and Enveloping Mist is going to be instant to the target that you're channeling Soothing Mist at. But if a party member only needs like 1 or 2 Vivifies to get topped off, you do not want to channel Soothing Mist because it's just a waste of global CD. And also your Renewing Mist does not get as much healing as the guy that you cast Vivify on. So what that means is just that you cannot just hot the whole party up with Renewing Mist and just channel one target with Soothing Mist and just spam Vivify. It doesn't heal the whole party with the same amount of heal, so do not do that. Enveloping Mist is a very good spell, especially if you have the talent Misrep, because then all your healing done to that target is going to be increased by 40%. So use the spell if the target is going to take a huge amount of damage, and try use Soothing Mist and then instant cast Enveloping Mist and spam into Vivify. It's going to burst heal the target like crazy. So let's talk about Thunder Focus Tea. This is a very powerful spell for the Mistweaver monk. So what this does is that it either makes your next Enveloping Mist heal for a certain amount instantly when you put it on, or your next Renewing Mist duration is increased by 10 seconds, or Vivify is no cost on mana. Rising Sun Kick cooldown is reduced by 9 seconds. So as you can see in this clip, by using Thunder Focus Tea, I can actually get Renewing Mist up on the whole party. So this is very strong for like full party healing. So let's head over to the damaging phase of Mistweaver monks. So for single target, you want to use Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, and Rising Sun Kick. So what I do here when I run into this dummy is that I pop my Thunder Focus Tea. So when I use my Rising Sun Kick, the cooldown is going to be reduced by those 9 seconds. So that means I can use Rising Sun Kick into Tiger Palm, into Rising Sun Kick, into Tiger Palm, into Rising Sun Kick, and then one more Tiger Palm, and then you can use Blackout Kick. You will always want to do the Rising Sun Kick before the Blackout Kick, because you can, with the Blackout Kick, you have a chance to actually reset cooldown of the Rising Sun Kick. You always want to use Tiger Palm 3 times before you actually use your Blackout Kick, because this makes your Blackout Kick strike an additional time, and it's stacking up to 3 times, as you can see here. Teachings of the Monastery is a passive. So another great thing is that we monks got here in BFA, and this counts for all specs. It's a passive called Mystic Touch. This means whenever you do any kind of damage to any mob, the mob is going to get a debuff for 1 minute where it takes 5% increased physical damage. So one of the easiest ways to apply this is to run into the pack, use Spinning Crane Kick, which is your main AoE ability for a Mistweaver monk. You can spam this as much as you want, and it actually does great AoE DPS if you just keep spamming it in a big pack. Another way to apply it is by casting Chi Burst. So this is like the 2 easiest way to do it. So hey guys, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, press that like and maybe subscribe. And if you didn't like it, smack the dislike button. Anyways, see you next time. Peace.